Hi friends, please settle down and please close your eyes for a minute. Quick recap. Tell me, Vidya, what did we study in the last lecture? Yes, Shreya?
So we were studying about
Suicide.
also the
Social facts. So tell me, define social facts for me. 1 second. Think of it. Online students, please confirm you can hear me all right. Yes? By typing yes, do that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Ji beta, please continue. Define social facts for us.
So social facts are the collective way of thinking and something which is collectively acceptable. So
That is so unsatisfactory, very frankly. Brother, define social facts.
Social facts are collective ways of acting, thinking and feeling,
Wonderful. Social facts are collective ways of acting, feeling and thinking
which is external to the individual
which are external to the individual.
endowed with the power of coercion by which they control the individual.
Absolutely. And endowed with the power of coercion by reason of which they control him. Wonderful. समझो और फिर रट लो, है ना? Why not? ठीक है? Great. Give me examples of some social facts.
Religion, family,
Wonderful. Wonderful. Social facts are of how many types? Namely? Meaning?
material which we can see. We can see like institutes and architectural structures,
All right. And non-material?
like the bedrooms and the rooms.
Okay. And what is the name of the book in which he studies or explains the methodology to be adopted to study social facts? Brother? नहीं पढ़ा? बिटिया? Rules of the sociological method. Very good. Tell me, brother. Raise your hand. Yes. Yes. What are the characteristics of social facts? Independent meaning what? Okay, meaning what? ठीक है. Next, बेटी. Thank you. बेटी. All right. Third. Constraining, meaning? Through social control mechanisms. They ensure or extract compliance from individual members. We don't write in first tense ki us. लाइक द वे यू वर स्पीकिंग, ठीक है, स्पीकिंग में चलता है बट नॉट वाइल राइटिंग, ठीक है. एंड फोर्थली, मीनिंग, ठीक है, वंडरफुल. What are the rules to study social facts, brother? Rules for observation, list them. Wonderful. First and foremost rule is treat social facts as things. Brother, checks, blue shirt. Tell me. Next rule. नहीं, रूल्स फॉर ऑब्जर्वेशन को ही पूरा करो. वंडरफुल, थैंक यू. कंटिन्यू. वंडरफुल, कंटिन्यू. What are normal, what are pathological? No, sorry. That's the wrong way to understand normal social facts. What are those that are directly observable? Material social facts. What are normal social facts? Brother? Yes? No, not you. उनके नेबर ने गलती की है, वही सुधारेंगे. हाँ. Which are not? नहीं, sorry, that's not what it means. He's saying those facts which are not bad for the society. Sorry, those are not normal social facts. What are normal social facts? Which are generally encountered in the society. And what are pathological, Bitya? Yes?
Any deviation from this normal standard?
Absolutely. Any deviation from this is pathological. The next rule, brother? हाँ, हो गया वो. देन नेक्स्ट. हाँ, तू बताओ ना. ठीक है, यू क्लासिफाई सोशल फिनोमेना इनटू अप्रोप्रिएट कैटेगरीज. नेक्स्ट बिटिया. Rules for explaining social facts, which are what? You trace social facts to other social facts. And wonderful. ठीक है. So that is about social facts. Moving on to suicide. What is the name of Durkheim's book on suicide? Lay suicide. Wonderful. Bitya? Yes. Define suicide for me.
So suicide is when an individual does the act either positively or negatively, which occurs in their death, which they recognize as if which they know would occur due to their action.
ठीक है. Almost there. Missed one part directly, indirectly, but otherwise mostly there. ठीक है. Then what are the factors which affect the rate of suicide, Bitya? Yes? The level of social integration and moral regulation. What are the different types of suicide, Bitya? Yes? According to Durkheim, what are the different types of suicide? Okay, what is egoistic? नहीं पढ़ा? गलत बात. बिटिया? When there is excessively low level of social integration in a society or social group, that is कौन सा? Egoistic suicide. Correct. Was she correct, her neighbor, when she mentioned there are 3 types of suicides? No. Why is she wrong? There are 4 types of suicide. One of them being egoistic, the other being altruistic suicide, which means what?
Sir, when level of social integration is highly excessively high,
When the level of social integration is excessively high, then persons may commit कौन सा suicide? Altruistic suicide. Give me examples, beti, of altruistic. ठीक है, हाँ, पद्मावती और से जौहर इन जनरल. हाँ, ठीक है बेटी. यस, टेल मी. Anomic suicide is what? When the level of moral regulation is excessively low. Examples, beti? Beti? Your neighbor. Yes. Tell me. Asking you. No, not you. Not you, sorry. Not you guys at the back. Here. Near the pillar. That row. Yes. Your neighbor. Ha. Yes. No, don't start from scratch. Give us examples of कौन सा चल रहा था? Anomic suicide. Give us examples of anomic suicide. Okay. ठीक है. बेटी? Yes. Raise your hand. Yes. What other type is there? What is fatalistic suicide? High or low? High or excessively high? Excessively high. Then we have fatalistic suicide. Give me examples, brother. Yes? Prison. ठीक है. Good. So we have understood. Now tell me. Where would you Dorkheim's son, he died fighting for his country on the battlefield. Okay, in the First World War. As per Durkheim's definition, it would be which suicide? Altruistic suicide. Have we also discussed? Yes? Termed as suicide. It seems somewhat insulting to call martyrdom as a kind of suicide. Okay? There is, but there is also a very good chance of one losing one's life as a result of that action. Yes. So martyrdom will classify. Why? Because when you are going on war, you are very well aware that there is a good chance it might result in my death, my own death. Right? Yet you are going there. Why? For the greater good. For the sake of the country or whatever. Okay? So in that sense, it will be regarded as altruistic suicide. Achha, have we discussed like which types of suicide we would expect in a modern society? Which? Beat petty. Yeah. Egoistic and anomic suicides in modern and inter-traditional society. Altruistic and fatalistic. धन्यवाद भैया. हाँ, good. और बताइए बेटे. Yes, white shirt. सफेदी की चमकार. Tell me, farmer suicides. Been in the news a lot. Where would you place them? Why? He is saying anomic suicide, but why? Good. Build on it. एकदम सही लाइन ऑफ थॉट है आपका. जस्ट dwell over it. Bete, you tell me. How will you classify farmer suicides and why? Anomic. Why? There are no clear guidelines for the farmers. But don't guidelines, if you mean policies, there are numerous. Sorry? हाँ, ठीक है, good. So how does it make it an anomic suicide? Beti?
So, farmers basically they go through economic bust because they have debts through which they have done their farming. So they have to pay it back. But at that point, they're not able to do it, and that's why they decide.
Okay, let me offer a corrective there in the explanation. Lot of farmer suicides are due to indebtedness. You're right there. But oftentimes those debts are not for farming. Oftentimes they are for consumption loans, in the form of a consumption loan. बेटी की शादी का, बेटे की पढ़ाई का, often illness को treat करने के लिए, for medical expenses. That is why they are, all the more unable to pay back. So, the way we can explain it as an anomic suicide, see, with globalization, what has happened? The aspirations, material aspirations of all sections of the society have risen manifold, including farmers. फार्मर के बेटे को भी अच्छी बाइक चाहिए, उसको भी अपनी बेटी की एक अच्छी संपन्न शादी करनी है. Yes or no? But incomes have not risen commensurately. Right? So what do you do to meet your consumption expenditure? You take loans. And loans, frequently they don't have access to institutionalized banking channels. So they resort to informal loans from the local money lenders, etc., who would then employ kind of muscle men to get those back. So all of that, simply society is unable to temper the expectations, greed, aspirations of farmers. फार्मर की इनकम 8-10 हजार रुपए नहीं है और उसको चाहिए बढ़िया बढ़िया चीजें. So, okay, tell me, how will you classify, friends, deaths due to ragging, suicides due to ragging, college hostel kind of a ragging? You may have heard such phenomena. Where will you place it? Which type? Fatalistic? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why? Yeah, a lot of external control, loss of individuality, being stripped of all agency. So, fatalistic sounds quite appropriate. How about...
This doesn't happen that individual is not able to one's life decisions. This was a one-time thing, even in colleges also. It's not that you are 24 hours very minutely observing the individual's behavior.
Agreed, but even so, the fact is that there is a loss of autonomy. And you are following the diktats of an authority figure. So you feel excessive control, excessive regulation, making you do things which you don't want to. So it may not be like 24/7, as you have very rightly pointed out, but it can still be considered as a kind of a excessive regulation and control and loss of autonomy, resulting in that sense of powerlessness, etc., impotence, and hence rightly classified as or termed as fatalistic. How about deaths, say, quota, KOTA, quota deaths, okay, quota suicides. You know of quota, student aspirants for another examination committing suicides. Where will you place them? Clearly. So you tell me, what is your assessment? Where will you place it and why? Quota suicides. Altruistic. How do you explain that?
was what? That plan got shut down in the process. So the control is gone. So it will actually depend on how an individual perceives the problem. In farmers also.
You are right that it will depend on how individual perceives it, or specifically for our purposes, how we explain it. But your explanations are very unsatisfactory. With due respect, they're not satisfactory. How will we place quota student suicides? Anomic. क्यों? सबको आईआईटी में जाना है, सीटें चंद है, right? Everybody has excessive aspirations. Society is unable to temper your aspirations, right? So in that sense, it can be rightly explained as anomic suicide. Can it be explained in any other way? Fit into any other category? Egoistic, why do you say that? Away from family, support system. So in that sense, it can also be justified or explained as. So clearly, friends, these are categories which are very neat and clean. In theory they apply, but in real life, as he also rightly pointed out, you're also suggesting, one type of suicide or one case of suicide may be explained as different kinds depending on the explanation that one offers. Okay? If Dharmender had jumped from the Tanki in Sholay, okay, it would have been which type of suicide? We've seen Sholay? No? How many of you have seen Sholay? Please raise your hands. Thanks for saving humanity. How do you explain if had Dharmender committed suicide? He didn't, but had he jumped from the Tanki? It would have been which type? Tell me, answer. Which type? Egoistic, anomic, fatalistic. चौथा भी बोल ही दो, लगे हाथ. How do you explain that? Whichever. Yes, brother? Anomic, okay. His aspirations were too high, like Basanti and all. Too high aspirations, he's saying. But she was quite like in his league, not like out of his league really. Yeah. She was just a village belle, yeah. And he was also quite a gabru kind of a guy. Egoistic, why? Guys, no crosstalk, no gupshup. Yeah. ठीक है. Egoistic does make sense, छड़े लड़का, no family background, nothing, just a friend. एक लड़की से प्यार हुआ, वो भी नहीं मिली, thanks to Mossy. So, egoistic does appeal. ठीक है? So we get Durkheim's theory of, don't write this as an example in your answers. Don't write Dharmender jumping in a hypothetical new Sholay. But you get the idea. Okay? ठीक है. अब moving on. Have we done criticism? तो करो. Criticism of Durkheim's theory of suicide. Now, farmer suicide we explained as anomic suicide. Because society is unable to temper their aspirations and greed, resulting in consumption loans, indebtedness, and suicide. One student is giving a bad but interesting explanation. She is saying Dharmender's would be altruistic suicide as the person is ready to give life for Basanti. But it's not the best explanation. It's an incorrect explanation. Altruistic is not like one person. It's about the greater good or the whole society or the honor of the community. Those kinds are altruistic suicides. Okay? Criticisms of Durkheim's theory of suicide. So several criticisms have been directed at his theory. One, the reliability of the data upon which he builds his theory is questioned. The reliability of the data. What is his source of data? Official statistics or police records, etc. Now, please appreciate, friends, the police may manipulate records, suicide records. Why? Because in many jurisdictions, in many countries, it is a crime. Police has a tendency in many places to underreport crime so that my record looks clean and good or better. Yes or no? So the reliability of the official records as a source of data is questioned. Secondly, now Durkheim, his theory found that, or his study found that the suicide rate of who is higher, men or women? Men or women? Pakka. Very pakka. Across societies, in fact, even in India, everywhere you see suicide rates of men are higher than women. Also, Durkheim's data found the same. But there's a problem. The problem or the criticism is Durkheim did not take into account attempted suicides. Attempted suicides. Feminist researchers have pointed out that there are more attempted suicides by women than men. Successful ones are more by men, but attempted ones are more by women. How he explains why men have a higher suicide rate? Durkheim suggests women, since they are somewhat better cushioned by the family. Women spend a lot of their lives and time and attention in the family. Men work outside of the home. So men do not have that cushioning effect or that strong social integration within the family that women enjoy. Are you with me? So women have a lower suicide rate and men have a higher suicide rate. But this is misleading according to critics. If you factor in the fact that women attempt more of suicides, then perhaps they are not as well integrated, or there may be some other reasons. Are you with me? So this kind of a study is misleading if you are not factoring in attempted suicides, because the intent was very much there. है ना? But why do you think this anomaly that women attempt more of suicides but men succeed at more number of suicides, or women are unable to? How do you explain this anomaly? Okay, death of soldiers, that may be one of the factors, and soldiers are mostly men. Good line of thinking. Or Betty? Oh, interesting. So women, they try commit suicide at home. There must be some family member or the other to kind of come to their rescue. While men do it outside. Akele mein. So, nobody.
Domestically, they are included in their household chores only, and therefore their attempt of suicide may not come out in public, so it may not have been reported to the police station.
वो तो अलग बात है, that the attempt does not come out. Assuming, or we are going with the assumption women attempt suicides more. अगर आपकी बात मान ले तो all the more, even more. They are attempting more. Why are they not succeeding? साफ बात है, men are more successful at most things, including this. हाँ बेटी? ठीक है, और आदमियों का तो क्या ही है बट ठीक है, चलिए, बट दैट्स स्लाइटली डाइग्रेशन. नेक्स्ट, क्रिटिसिज्म. We are not delving into it now, that's not our concern, it was just an aside. Another criticism is that Durkheim considers what the data that he picks up as the objective reality, that these are actual suicides. He ignores the fact that what is that statistic? It is a product of social interaction. Human beings have labeled some deaths as suicide. Who has labeled them? Who labels a particular death as suicide or accident or natural death or whatever? The police officials, the investigators, the medical professionals engaged. So it is not a pure objective fact. Whatever is taken as at face value by Durkheim. These are outcomes of social interactions. So these are human constructs or social constructs. Are you with me? So through a series of क्या बोलते हैं उसको negotiations between the members of the society, some deaths get labeled as suicide. Basically, the police will conduct investigation. They will talk to the family members, neighbors, colleagues, etc. Look at the financial history of the person, this or that, sexual relations, blah blah. And then they will label some deaths as suicide. These are not objective facts. Please appreciate. So, for example, various socio-cultural factors may impact which Durkheim did not consider. How some of these deaths are labeled as suicide. For example, in certain religions, there is a great stigma attached to suicide. It is considered as a very big sin. So, if you belong to such a religion, if the deceased person belongs to such a religion, the family members are likely to explain it away or rationalize it as a accident or natural death or something. Are you with me? But not in other religions. For example, if a Jain person, a follower of Jainism, he dies by suicide or salekhan, by fasting to death. Okay? Do you expect the members of his family to hide or something this fact? No. They celebrate it. It is glorified and celebrated. Are you with me? But in other communities like Catholic Christianity, there is a lot of sanctity associated with human life and one is not supposed to end it. So a Catholic Christian family might go to great lengths to pass off what actually is a suicide case as an accident or natural death or something. तो समझ गए? So suicide statistics, what Durkheim takes at face value, are really social constructs born out of negotiations. Why we say negotiations? Family members कुछ देखेंगे explanations, फिर पुलिस वाले कुछ और बोलेंगे, काउंटर सवाल पूछेंगे, ऐसे लेन देन से. Born out of negotiations between social actors involved. Are you with me? Durkheim क्या लेता है? पुलिस ने कह दिया तो बस कह दिया. It's a fact. It's the objective reality. ठीक? Another criticism of Durkheim's theory of suicide, it is accused of what we call ecological fallacy. What is an ecological fallacy? It is an error in logic. What logical error? The error is that based on, Durkheim had data region wise or country wise and not religion wise. Based on region or country wise data, he inferred the social factors and suicidal tendency amongst different religious groups. What he did wrong. May I continue speaking or are you writing something? Righto? What he did wrong, what he actually found or what the data revealed to him, that Protestant dominated countries or regions had a higher suicide rate than Catholic dominated regions या countries. ठीक है? From this he deduced that somehow Protestantism or Protestants are more prone to suicide than Catholics. And what is the reason? Lesser levels of social integration. Is that a correct? What is wrong with making this inference? Is it a wrong inference? Or does it sound logically all right to you? Let me give you a parallel. Okay, because this is foreign, something closer home. So if we find that India has a higher suicide rate than Pakistan. Okay, say we collect data and we find that India has a higher suicide rate than Pakistan. Can we then logically infer that Hindus or Hinduism, somehow Hindu society has a greater propensity to suicide than Muslim Samaj? Given that India is Hindu majority, Hindu dominated, and Pakistan is Muslim dominated. Will that be a correct inference? Yes or no? Why? What's wrong? इंडिया में ज्यादा अगर सुइसाइड रेट है देन पाकिस्तान, इसका मतलब हिंदूज का ज्यादा सुइसाइड रेट है देन मुस्लिम्स का, और नॉट? Okay, so one good reason he has pointed out, it could be due to other factors. Say the Pakistani economy is collapsing or Indian economy is collapsing and Pakistan is doing very well. Or host of other factors. One is that. Now also, please appreciate, you cannot deduce from this aspect, even then you cannot, even other things remaining same. You can't say that if India's suicide rate is higher than Pakistan's, then Hindus are more prone to suicide than Muslims. Why? Say within India, maybe Muslims are committing a lot of suicide because they feel suffocated and emasculated in a Hindu majority India. Are you with me? So this is the error of logic, what is called as ecological fallacy. He had region wise or country wise data on suicide. From that he links it to religious communities. ठीक? What was the third criticism that we've written? I've been asked to repeat it. That it's a social construct. That Durkheim takes police records at face value as if this is sacrosanct objective truth. But it is some deaths are labeled as suicide out of a process of social negotiation. between the persons concerned, namely police officers, medical practitioners, family members, etc. अब सुशांत सिंह राजपूत की डेथ क्या है? सुइसाइड है, मर्डर है? वी रियली डोंट नो. चलिए, लास्टली वी हैव एन एजेंडा ऑल्सो, है ना. Another criticism of Durkheim's theory is that he significantly downplays the role of psychological factors. Critics argue that even if you have social factors, psychological differences or the state of mind cannot be completely ignored in any analysis of suicide. Can it be? अब डॉर्कहाइम ने कहा कि जिस सोशल ग्रुप्स में X conditions है, social integration is excessively low, excessively high, there is a propensity to commit suicide. Say unmarried persons have a higher propensity because of excessively low levels of integration. But then all unmarried persons are not committing suicide. Why is one unmarried person committing suicide and another 10 others are not? For that, where will we look? Into the psyche. Are you with me? So critics argue that it is that Durkheim wrongly, excessively downplays the importance of psychological factors in his theory of suicide. With that, we are done with Durkheim and moving ahead. क्या है अगला? हाँ, टैलकॉट पार्सन्स. दो टॉपिक्स हैं, दोनों करने हैं आज. टैलकॉट पार्सन्स. No this thing, doubts or nothing. Hold them because we need to complete. We have an agenda, so please, and only raise your questions when asked to, है ना. Talcott Parsons. This gentleman lived during this period. A very brief outline of his kind of a life sketch. So he's a 20th century scholar out and out. That is, of course, evident. He is American. Not only is he American, he was a very patriotic American. So throughout his writings, he celebrates American modernity, American society, American culture, American economy or capitalism. ठीक. In fact, he dominated American sociology. His writings, his views dominated American sociology for a long span of at least 2 decades in the middle of the 20th century, about 1950s and 60s. The peak of his influence was in 1950s. Also, in 1960s. In fact, American sociology became synonymous with Parsonian sociology or with Parsons' writings. So much so, he dominated and influenced American sociology. In terms of his theoretical orientation, he was a functionalist. And does that tell you a lot about him? Yes or no? क्या बात करेगा? अच्छी अच्छी. Yes or no? सोसाइटी कैसी है? बढ़िया है. सब सोशल इंस्टीट्यूशंस क्या कर रहे हैं? अपने अपने बढ़िया बढ़िया फंक्शंस परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं. यू नो द गाय ऑलरेडी, राइट? वंस यू नो हिज जात, विच इज फंक्शनलिस्ट. जात as in the category to which he belongs. He gave two broad or overarching theoretical frameworks. Two big theories he gave. One was a theory of social system. Another was a theory of social action. And he says that, we can explain any social reality in any part of the world using these two theoretical frameworks. These are like universal, comprehensive kind of theories to understand any social reality. A very ambitious or tall claim, one would say. ठीक. His theory of social system we will study. It is in our syllabus very much. His theory of social action is not in our syllabus, so we will not study. Please do not study his theory of social action. Why I am reiterating, even if you come across it in some book like Sangwan or Harlambos or anywhere, ignore it. His writings are very jargon laden, very difficult to decipher or understand, and unnecessarily we'll be cluttering our plate. We already have a lot on our plate to do in life. So what we don't need to do, we do not do. Okay? So please do not do social action theory of Parsons. Only one dimension or aspect of it we have to cover, which is mentioned in our UPSC social syllabus, which is pattern variables. So two topics, social system and pattern variables. These two topics we have to do under Sri Talcott Parsons. Pattern variables. ठीक? So starting without much ado with the first topic, which is theory of social system. And before we start with Parsons' theory of social system, forget social system, forget Talcott Parsons, forget sociology. What do you understand by the word system in English, normal English? Have you heard of system in any other context? Have you heard the word system? Itna rare to na hai. Which context? Yeah, raise your hands and tell me. Any other systems other than the social system? Digestive system. Political system. Yeah? Any other systems? कंप्यूटर सिस्टम है ना. पीसी खराब हो जाता है तो हम बोलते हैं भैया को, भैया सिस्टम खराब हो गया है, आके ठीक कर दो. सो इट इज अ सिस्टम. और सॉरी, सोलर सिस्टम, डेटाबेस मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम, skeletal system, nervous system, and so on and so forth. So to human body में ही system मिल जाएंगे. What do we mean when we call all these things as systems? Why do we call them system? What is the meaning, implication of the word system, beti? Don't murmur. Huh? It is a process. Okay. That is meaningful, but that's not very satisfactory actually. Definite and proper. Organized way. Wonderful. Very properly explained. Definite and proper way of. Kya bola? He's feeling a lot of pressure of organizing things. Very good. Huh? So when things are very properly organized, we say they are organized in a systematic manner. Otherwise, if say somebody walks into the class and everybody is speaking out of turn, लोग कहेंगे यहाँ पे कोई system नहीं है क्या? Meaning what? Things are so haphazard and arbitrarily happening. So when things are well organized, well coordinated, we use, that's what we mean by having a system. और बताइए, brother? Okay, partly accepting that, he's saying all parts are integrated. Are the different parts of a system integrated? Does the word system imply integration of the various parts somewhere? Clearly, yes. There is some sort of a coordination, some sort of an integration. Yes or no? Happening there. Do they all perform one function? That is slightly not the best way to put it. Yeah. You had raised? ठीक है. So it's been already said. Brother? Hierarchy. There's a proper order. Huh? Okay. Beti? The conventional way of doing a thing. In a certain proper, well-organized, set pattern. Huh? ठीक है. Brother? Okay, so very well expressed, different parts may be doing different things, but their overall goal, or somehow they together achieve something. That's a far better way of saying, I think, what you were also trying to say. Very good. So that is what is the system. We have all understood or studied in life various systems. And this systems, it's an approach. Please appreciate. It is an approach, or it is a view of explaining any set of interrelated parts working in an organized kind of a manner. Are you with me? With a set pattern? Okay. So you have different systems where, as systems as diverse as the computer system and the solar system and the digestive system or the computer system. All of these are systems. Can we say car, gadi is a system? Is it a correct usage or not? It is clearly. It may not be conventional or common, but it is correct. Right? We use the term music system a lot of times. Or earlier we used to in my generation. I don't know if you guys still do. You call it the music system. Car can also be seen as a system. Set of interrelated parts working together in a coherent fashion towards an coordinated kind of a goal, doing their different things, and so on. That is the meaning of the word system. And this system's perspective or approach or analysis can be applied to diverse phenomena, from the solar system or the arrangement of planets and suns, stars, to human body parts, to a computer or a car. Parsons does precisely that. He applies the systems approach to study society. Are you with me? So what is social system? Give me one word for the social system. Society. Wonderful. What is social system? It is the society which he is referring to when he is using the phrase social system, but implying something, that how is the society arranged? It has certain parts performing different functions or tasks which are arranged in a well coordinated kind of a manner. There's a proper arrangement. Yes or no? If we just put together the parts of the system, does it become a system? If you put together the different parts of a music system, will it become a music system? Or if you put together the different parts of the digestive system, कि pancreas रख दिया और small intestine और stomach वगैरह बन जाएगा वो? नहीं. क्यों? क्या कमी है? They are not organized in a proper coordinated fashion. So with that organization, proper organization is important. Likewise in the society. It's not just an amalgam of different parts, but those parts are interrelated and interconnected in a proper manner. ठीक? ये है systems approach applied to the study of society. What Parsons terms as social system. लिखो. Talcott Parsons analyzes the society as a system. Full stop. The term system has been defined in various ways. Full stop. The Oxford Dictionary defines system as a group of parts working together, a group of parts working together in a regular relationship. In a regular relationship. Full stop. A system can also be defined as a collection of interrelated parts, objects, or things full stop. The word system thus indicates an orderly arrangement of various parts. ठीक है? Before you write further, tell me, friends, you have discussed some of sociology till now. Was, in your with your limited knowledge, was Parsons the first to use the systems approach to study society? Or has society been viewed or explained as a system by anybody else before Parsons also? Who? Sorry? Absolutely. So Herbert Spencer, his organic analogy, that is also a systems approach. So clearly Parsons was not the first guy to apply the systems approach to the analysis of society. Several others before him, including Herbert Spencer, including even Comte, analyze the society as a system or a set of interrelated parts arranged in an orderly fashion. Okay? But today, when we talk about the systems theory in sociology, or when you use the phrase social system, the most immediately name associated with it is that of Talcott Parsons. So his name has got somewhat very closely associated with systems theory, though he was clearly not the first guy to analyze the society as a set of interrelated parts. Okay? Difference only being he did so very explicitly. Okay, so he used the phrase social system, unlike a Comte or a Spencer or somebody. समझ रहे हो आप? And those guys were more interested in, analyzing the society. He was concerned with building theory, a systems theory or a systems perspective. So that is the difference in emphasis. Okay? That is all. आगे चले. According to Duncan Mitchell, social system consists of two or more individuals interacting directly or indirectly in a bounded situation. Meaning what, friends? It's not only the whole society which can be referred to as the social system. Even a duo, two persons, say a husband, wife, a couple, can be viewed as a system. Are you with me? There is interaction in a bounded situation. What do you mean bounded? Bounded by what? The norms and values of the society. Right? They bound that interaction or color it and influence it. Okay? So interaction takes place as per the norms and values of the society. That is the implication of when you say in a bounded situation. ठीक. Parsons, in his book titled, टफ नाम है, याद रख लेना, द सोशल सिस्टम, writes that the social system consists of a plurality of individuals interacting with each other. Full stop. His explanation of a social system does not end here. They interact in a social situation in a given environment. In a given environment. Full stop. The various social actors are driven by motivation. The different social actors are driven by motivation to maximize their gratification. Various social actors are driven by the motivation to maximize their gratification. What does this definition means? It consists of a plurality of individuals. So there are multiple persons there. Then they are interacting in a social situation, in an environment. Meaning what? So for example, this interaction which is taking place, what is the social situation? The classroom situation. Simply it's taking place in a classroom setting. Yes or no? It is an interaction between a teacher and students in a classroom setting. And what is the overall environment in which this interaction is taking place? Education. Or more specifically, there is a competitive examination which is going to be held. You are the aspirants for it, and I have some expertise in a particular field of knowledge. So that is the environment or the context in which it is taking place. And then the various social actors are driven by the motivation, the desire to maximize their gratification. So why are you here? What do you mean by gratification? Satisfaction. Okay, or to derive the maximum benefit. Why are you here? To maximize your gratification, or maximize your sense of satisfaction from this interaction. To best get out of it what you are here to get out of it. And why am I here? To maximize my gratification, not yours. My gratification. ठीक है? आगे लिखो. According to Sri Parsons, a social system has the following characteristics. Number one, it involves interaction between two or more social actors. Second, it involves interaction between two or more social actors. Second, this interaction takes place in a social situation. These aspects were already covered or mentioned earlier. Third, the social system is characterized by common values, goals, and a consensus on expectations. So how are we able to conduct this class in an orderly fashion? Because we broadly agree upon various aspects. Why are we here? And so on and so forth. Yes or no? And consensus on expectations. So there's a broad agreement in the sense you guys have certain expectations of me, of your teacher. I also am aware of those expectations. Are you with me? There's a consensus amongst all of us. You guys as students, me as teacher, administration, as regards the objective of why we are here, why this interaction is taking place. क्या लिखा है लास्ट बिटिया? एंड अ कंसेंसस ऑन एक्सपेक्टेशंस. ठीक है, ठीक है. आगे बढ़ू. फोर्थली, द रोल्स are institutionalized in the social system. Rules nahi, roles. Roles are institutionalized in the social system. Have we discussed this concept of roles earlier somewhere? No. Sure. We've not discussed role anywhere. First initial classes, anywhere. Functions is different. Roles I'm talking. Okay, so let me just slightly digress to help you understand this point. Okay. So in the society, each of us, each member of the society occupies certain statuses. We occupy certain statuses. And as the occupant of a particular status, we perform the corresponding roles. So status and roles come in pairs. Okay. Pairs matlab for every status there is a corresponding role. And status not in the sense of, high status, low status, or whether you are highly or lowly placed, not in that sense, ordinary English sense. Status means various social positions that one occupies. That is the status. For example, I occupy the status of a teacher. Okay? But that's not the only status which I occupy. I also occupy the status of a father, the status of a husband, that of a son, that of an employer. समाज ने मुझे ये सारे दर्जे निर्धारित किए हैं. और the society has endowed on me these various statuses. So status defines who am I, or who the individual is. What positions does he occupy in society? ठीक है? Roles are, as the occupant of that status, what I do. What am I expected to do and what I do. Both. So, as the occupant of the status of a teacher, I perform the role of a teacher. Are you with me? Status is आप हो कौन, role is वो होने की वजह से आप कर क्या रहे हो. So मैं टीचर हूं तो मैं टीचर ही कर रहा हूं. फादर हूं तो मैं correspondingly fathering कर रहा हूं. For that's bad English, but I'm performing the corresponding role. Are you with me? So every role, now these roles are institutionalized. We just wrote that. These roles are institutionalized, meaning set in the society. Do I define what I do as a teacher? No. The society is already, it's set. It's a given. What is expected of me as a teacher? Are you with me? How I will conduct myself as a teacher. So you have certain what are called as role expectations from the occupant of the status of a teacher. You expect from me something because I am playing the role of a teacher. Are you with me? I am also aware of those expectations. And I am playing my part accordingly. Simply. Clear? So what is the role of a teacher? To impart knowledge, clear students' doubts, guide them in their careers, blah blah. These are the role expectations from a teacher. What is the role of a father? What am I expected to do as a father? क्या provide? love, or financial this thing, security, etc. Roof over the head of the children, and so on and so forth. That is my role as a father, and so on and so forth. What's my role as a son, or your role as a son? You respect your parents, you take care of them in the old age, and so on and so forth. So we occupy different statuses. You also similarly occupy many statuses and perform the corresponding roles. तो यही हमने लिखा था. This digression was only to explain to you the meaning of the term roles. Okay. So various roles are institutionalized in the social system. Sorry. हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. चलिए. Now another aspect of this social system. Parsons uses this term. There are certain functional prerequisites of the social system. Functional prerequisites. आई बड़ा गड़बड़ हो गया. ओफो. Functional prerequisites. What does the word suggest? Pre-required. In other words, these are certain functions which must be performed if the society or the social system is to continue to exist, to be able to maintain itself. ठीक है? ये भी ला दीजिएगा प्लीज. पानी खुला है. धन्यवाद. So these are certain needs of the society or the social system which must be fulfilled. These are certain tasks which must be performed if the social system is to be able to maintain itself. Are you with me? Let us go back to the organic analogy. Can you tell me some functional prerequisites for the survival of an organism? किसी organism के लिए are there any prerequisites that for him to survive, some basic essentials which are necessary, some mechanisms or things which must be done? Food digestion, provisioning food in the first place, excretion system or whatever. All of these are. Similarly, for the society or the social system to continue to exist, to be able to maintain itself, certain tasks must be performed, or certain needs of the social system must be met. These are referred to as functional prerequisites. So, according to Parsons, there are 4 functional prerequisites. कितने? 4. The first is adaptation. धन्यवाद. First I'll explain, then I'll dictate. What do you mean by adaptation? So the social system, friends, or the society, there's an external environment to it. Now there will be changes in that environment, say in the natural environment. There will be changes. So the society will have to adapt to those changes if it is to continue to survive. This thing is known as adaptation. That you are able to, particularly friends, we need to be able to see, we are engaging with the environment in the sense we are extracting resources from it. We are extracting petroleum from it. We are extracting food type resources, animals, your livestock, and so many things. Fish, food grains, vegetables. We are extracting from the natural environment. Are you with me? So if there are any changes in the environment, the society will have to adapt to it. Okay? This is the function of adaptation. For example, if the petroleum reserves go down, we will need to somehow harness newer sources of energy. If the fertility of the soil is depleted, we will need some mechanisms to enhance food production. Are you with me? This is what we call adaptation. That the social system should be able to adapt to the changes in the environment. Not in the society, in the environment. ठीक है? लिख लो. Adaptation means that the social system must be able to generate or acquire resources from outside of the social system. From outside of the social system. The society, full stop डाल के, the society has to continuously adapt to changes in the environment. The social system thus needs to be able to exert I repeat, the social system thus needs to be able to exert at least some control over the external environment. ठीक है? Full stop. At a minimum, food and shelter has to be provided for the members of the society. ठीक? The second functional prerequisite is goal attainment. Goal attainment. I'll again first explain, then we will write. Goal attainment means what? Basically, we as a society, every society will have to identify what its collective goals are. What is it that we as a society, as a people want to achieve? Not only do we have to identify the goals that we collectively want to achieve, we need to say allocate some resources that will be required for the attainment of those goals. We need to motivate the people to work for the achievement of those goals. Are you with me? For example, over the past 8-10 years, we as a society have decided that cleanliness, yes or no, is something that we want to achieve as a collectivity. Are you with me? Then we have assigned resources for it under the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Are you with me? And then people have been mobilized in order to achieve that goal collectively. Are you with me? Now you tell me. तो लिख लो पहले या तो. Is it clear? Goal attainment refers to, या means, determining the collective goals of the society. Determining the collective goals of the society, comma, prioritizing amongst them, comma, allocating resources for their attainment, and motivating, या mobilizing the members of the society to pursue them or to achieve them. ठीक है? अच्छा, tell me before we proceed, each part of the social system or any system, forget social system, is known as what? Give me another word for a part. Then when you're saying, no, it's like comprises of interrelated parts. Each part is known as, अरे वो तो तुमने पढ़ ली सोशियोलॉजी, तो सोशियोलॉजी सोसाइटी के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में कह रहे हो इंस्टीट्यूशन. बट forget sociology. In systems approach, in general, anywhere, each part of the system is component. Good, but that's not what we are looking for. Good. It can be called a component. Another word. Very in sync element, very in sync with the systems approach. Organ, that's specifically biotype. Unit, element, component, something more substantive or more meaningful than that. नहीं, इंस्ट्रूमेंट तो बिल्कुल नहीं है. मैं बोलूंगा, आप लोग कहोगे अरे हां. सब सिस्टम, ठीक है, सब सिस्टम. When we call a part of the system as a subsystem, what does it imply? Why do we call it a subsystem? Second तो है, सब तो समझ आता है, सिस्टम का क्या तात्पर्य है? That it also comprises of interrelated parts which are well organized and blah blah blah. All that the word system implies. Are you with me? So the whole society is a system called the social system. It comprises of various parts such as the economic subsystem, the political subsystem, family subsystem. इस तरह से, ठीक है? हाँ, अब मेरे को ये बताओ, तो हर पार्ट को हम क्या बोलेंगे? सबसिस्टम इन सिस्टम्स भाषा. नाउ विच सबसिस्टम परफॉर्म्स दिस फंक्शन ऑफ गोल अटेनमेंट? किसकी जिम्मेवारी है? मेनली इंटरेस्टेड विद गोल अटेनमेंट. यस, द गवर्नमेंट और द पॉलिटिकल सबसिस्टम. तो लिख भी तो लो कि दिस टास्क ऑफ गोल अटेनमेंट इज परफॉर्म बाय द और प्राइमरली बाय द पॉलिटिकल सबसिस्टम. गवर्नमेंट ने तो तय किया ना कि एज अ सोसाइटी वी शुड नाउ प्रायोरिटाइज क्लीनलीनेस. मूडी जी ने सबको मोबिलाइज किया ना. नॉट मूडी अलोन, बट as the face of the government. Sorry? We're talking about a society. We as a society. Okay? Alag-alag societies maybe. So US government or the US political system will decide upon the priorities of that country or that society. Yes or no? Also, which subsystem performs the task of adaptation? कौन extract करता है resources from the environment? The economic subsystem. It is the economy. And how do we do it? How does the economy do it? Through technology. Technology, जो production technology है उसमें improvements होती हैं. That is how we extract better, more efficiently or through newer ways resources from the environment. For example, your petroleum reserves are getting depleted. So there have been technological innovations primarily in the economy for harnessing wind energy or solar energy. Are you with me? Or say if agricultural yield is low, population is rising, this or that, fertility is going down, then you will implement technological solutions like the green revolution. Are you with me? And of course, when these functions are taking place, does every institution, does it chada solely in isolation? No, there is coordination and cooperation between the different subsystems. That is a given. Okay? But largely, the adaptation function is performed by the economic subsystem. The goal attainment function is performed by the political subsystem. लिख लिया दोनों? The third function or functional prerequisite is integration. Again, I'll explain then dictate. Integration means what? कि समाज में तालमेल बना रहे. There is coordination, cooperation amongst different members of the society. So some basis for that coordination and cooperation has to be provided. And it also implies that any sort of conflicts which arise, there's a mechanism to deal with that amicably. Yani without disrupting the whole society, some way disputes and conflicts can be resolved or settled. ठीक है? This is what we call the integration function. We need a basis for consensus and then any disputes or conflicts arising, a mechanism to resolve them amicably. ठीक? लिखो. Integration means maintaining coordination and coherence in the society. Full stop. It involves minimizing chances of conflict and some mechanism to resolve conflicts if they arise. Mechanism to resolve conflicts if they arise. तो अब ये बताओ कि which subsystem does this? Very good. The legal and the judicial subsystems. Basically, law provides us a basis of consensus. Now, how do we organize our collective lives? How do we live together as per the law? Are you with me? एंड इफ एनी डिस्प्यूट्स डू अराइज, कोई झगड़ा होता है, कोई विवाद उठता है, तो उसको शांतिपूर्वक ढंग से कैसे रिजॉल्व करते हैं? बाय द रिसोर्टिंग टू द जुडिशियल सिस्टम. ठीक. फोर्थ is it visible, I hope? What is called the latency function. Latency function. ठीक. Latency means what? It has two parts or two aspects, this latency function. Pattern maintenance and tension management. Pattern maintenance and tension management. ठीक. Now what do these Farsi words mean? Pattern maintenance simply means that the pattern of values which is prevalent in the society has to be maintained or has to be passed down from one generation to the next. ठीक है. The pattern of values prevalent in the society has to be maintained or has to be passed down from one generation to the next. That is the meaning of pattern maintenance. समाज में जो विचार हैं, जो वैल्यूज हैं, वो पास ऑन होती रहें ताकि वही व्यवस्था चलती रहे. ऑल राइट. May I? Is it clear? Pattern maintenance means that the pattern of values which is prevalent in the society is passed down from one generation to the next. Tension management means what? See, for the individual members of a social system, for people like you and I, when we are part of a social system, simply put, you tell me, is living in a society an easy affair? आसान है क्या? नहीं. So various strains and stresses are produced when an individual is a member of a social system. Bluntly put, it's not easy to navigate through life as a member of a society. घने कलेश होते हैं. Yes or no? So some mechanism to resolve or to dissipate those tensions which arise, or those stresses and strains which press upon the individual members, that needs to be provided. वरना तो हम लोग तो बर्न आउट हो लेंगे नहीं हो लेंगे. So that the individual members are able to sail through and bear the different stresses and strains which are produced by the social system. समाज में जीने से जो तनाव पैदा होते हैं, उन तनावों के निवारण के लिए एक मैकेनिज्म का हिंदी क्या होता है? एक सिस्टम चाहिए. एक तकनीक चाहिए, है ना? ऑल राइट. नाउ, which part of the social system does this pattern maintenance and tension management? What ensures that the same pattern of values is passed down from one family, religion, various agencies of socialization? They also double up as, also perform the task of tension management. जब सारी भड़ास भर जाएगी समाज के प्रति, तो किस पे चिल्लाओगे? मम्मी पे चिल्लाओगे, बीवी पे चिल्लाओगे, yes or no? So it is the family where we release our stresses that are produced. Sorry? Also religion, absolutely. Also the education system for that matter. Okay? All of these are engaged in the latency function. Okay? So these are the 4 functional prerequisites or 4 functions which must be performed for the society or the social system to be able to maintain itself. This is also known as the agile paradigm. एक बेबात का acronym made from the first letters of the 4 functions. It's called the agile framework or the agile paradigm. Why I'm sharing this meaningless piece of information? Because they can ask you a question in the exam. Write a short note on agile. So you should know what you have to write there. Okay? The agile framework or the agile paradigm. ठीक है? Now, staying with this systems theory, we are not done yet. Parsons, please appreciate, functional theory in general is often accused of emphasizing continuity and ignoring or not adequately explaining changes in society. We had talked about it earlier if you recollect. But Parsons, to his credit, tries to explain social change in a functional framework or theory. Okay? How he does that, let us try to appreciate. How Parsons explains social change in a functional framework. How changes take place in society according to Sri Parsons. So, help me out here. Okay, once you're done writing the heading. I've tried to draw a social system. These are the 4 parts of the system, or these are 4 subsystems. Alright? Forget social system, any system. I'm trying to draw a system. Is this a satisfactory portrayal? I've drawn 4 parts or subsystems. Is it a satisfactory diagram? Why not? What's missing? Raise your hands and tell me. So the interconnections are missing. Okay? Now, is that a satisfactory diagram of a system? Why not? What's missing? Raise your hands. Yeah? Kya? Say? Tell me. How do I show that? What do you mean? Cross as in like this? Okay, I've done that. Is that a satisfactory? What's missing? They're doing something. They seem to be very undoing, non-doing kind of. From where to where? Say like this. They're impacting each other, affecting each other. Is that good? What else? Where? Here? Inside of this? Outside. Okay. What does this circle represent? Huh? But weren't they like already even outside or without the circle? Why did you make... You're absolutely right when you make me draw that. But why did you make me draw that? What is this? What is this? Huh? Bachcho, it's called boundary. The system has a boundary. Huh? Such simple English words come to our rescue, and the system has a boundary. And why is drawing this boundary necessary? What is this? And in general, one sec, I slightly disagree with you. With due respect, okay, to your suggestion, but I'll prefer to draw it like this. It's like, more systematic. And what is this? Huh? क्या है ये? What is it called? हाँ, outside तो है ही है. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Environment बोलते हैं. So the boundary indicates what? What lies or what is a part of the system and what is not a part of the system, or what belongs to the outside or the environment. ठीक है? तो लिखो. The social system has a boundary. Sorry? Sentence form, like running sentence. The social system has a boundary, i.e., that is, there exists a significant difference between the institutions and processes that are internal to the system and those that are external to it, outside it. ठीक है? Full stop. Such a clear difference exists and is maintained between the social system and its environment. ठीक? Full stop. Tell me one more thing about a system. Forget social system, society, sociology and Parsons, but about any system. The system maintains itself in a state of dash. Very good, in a state of equilibrium. The system, लिखो नहीं ना, पहले समझ तो लो, लिखवा दूंगा. The system maintains itself in a state of equilibrium. We've all heard this. What do you mean? Who said equilibrium? What do you mean?
So, in a state of neutrality quality, like there is a particular order that is maintained, like it's equal. There is no
Equal मतलब किससे?
equal in the sense that all the parts are performing the functions they should in an equilibrium.
ठीक है. So there's a state of balance or harmony between the different parts of the system. That is what you were perhaps trying to suggest with the term equilibrium. Fine. Does that mean that it is unchanging? Is that state of equilibrium maintained forever? Yes or no? Why? Why is that not maintained? System equilibrium में नहीं रहेगा तो कहीं बिखर तो नहीं जाएगा हमारा समाज या any system. Huh? If the equilibrium of a system is disturbed, will the system cease to exist? Because of? It will cease to exist. Cease to matlab it will not exist. Will the system die? Brother? ओके ठीक है. Now how does that take place? Let us try to appreciate. Now when we have drawn a clear boundary to distinguish what is inside the system and what is outside of it, okay, outside of it everything is a part of the environment, and this is what is inside the system. Does it mean that the system and the environment have nothing to do with each other? Are they like east is east and west is west and the twain shall never meet? Is that the case? क्या इनका आपस में कुछ लेना देना है या नहीं है? क्या है? कैसे? क्या करूं मैं? हाँ? क्या होता है? What is missing? अरे यार, so simple. There are inputs into the system from the environment. Yes or no? Meaning what? Due to some changes in the environment, the system is impacted. Say there is climate change. Will it affect the social system or the society? Yes, it will. Say fossil fuels are getting depleted. Say some species dies out or whatever. Are you with me? Does it affect the social system? These changes in the environment? The answer is clearly yes. And specifically, which part of the social system is disturbed or affected by these changes? Which part specifically responds to these changes? We just studied that. The economy. The economy. The economic subsystem. So whatever changes are taking place in the environment, say this is the economy. Okay, this is family and religion and political system और बाकी दो तीन यहाँ पे, ठीक है, whatever. So the economy, say its state of equilibrium is disturbed. Okay, it becomes like teda. Then what will happen? This changes in the one subsystem will affect the other subsystems connected to it also. So this will also kind of ठीक है? So what will happen now? It will attain a new equilibrium, a new state of equilibrium, a new balance, a new harmony. Yes or no? The earlier state of equilibrium was disturbed due to changes in the environment, which introduced a disturbance into the social system. And as one part is affected, all others are also affected. Now when this happens, what will happen? Adaptation तो हो गया, पर इसके नतीजे से क्या होगा? As a consequence, does the system also affect the environment in any way? Yes, absolutely. So there will be some sort of an output. Are you with me? In other words, changes in the environment will affect the society, and then society responds to those changes, adapts to those changes, thereby also further impacting the environment. Are you with me? So मान लो climate change वगैरह हो रहा था या ozone depletion. I'm not too good with this thing. तो क्या हुआ? उसकी वजह से we adopted new technologies, etc., phased out chlorofluorocarbons and the works. उससे क्या होगा? Environment पे फिर एक impact पड़ेगा. So now what will happen? What will happen to these things? This will change the environment in certain way, which will again serve as a new disturbance or a new input into the social system. Are you with me? So again the state of equilibrium with the new state which was attained will be disturbed. फिर क्या होगा? फिर ये हिल जाएगा, फिर ये हिल जाएगा, and फिर ये हिल जाएगा, and so on. Are you with me? So the system is in a state of equilibrium, but it is what we call a moving equilibrium or a dynamic equilibrium. Are you with me? In other words, society is always changing or sometimes changing? Always changing. It is continuously adapting to the changes in the environment, because of which the earlier the existing equilibrium of the society is disturbed. Various subsystems arrive at a new equilibrium, a new balance, a new harmony. But then this process goes on and on and on. ठीक? What we call a moving equilibrium or a dynamic equilibrium. तो लिख लो. क्या लिखा है लास्ट बेटी? डिक्टेटेड पार्ट्स में. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट पैरा. द सोशल सिस्टम exists in a state of equilibrium. That is, i.e., there is a state of harmony, balance, and cooperation between the various subsystems. That constitute it. Between the various subsystems which constitute it. Full stop. However, the social system is in continuous exchange with its environment. I repeat, the social system is in continuous exchange with its environment. Full stop. Inputs from the environment disturb the state of equilibrium of the social system. Full stop. As one part of the social system gets affected, comma, various other subsystems linked to it also adjust to the new state. Full stop. As the social system is in continuous exchange with the environment, as the social system is in continuous exchange with its environment, comma, it maintains itself in a state of dynamic equilibrium or moving equilibrium. ठीक? In other words, simpler words, society is always changing. But how is that change? Is it abrupt or is it orderly? Orderly. Is it disruptive or is it smooth? Broadly smooth. Please appreciate. Is it gradual or is it sudden? Gradual. Is it evolutionary or is it revolutionary? Evolutionary. Are you with me? So Parsons' theory explains social change as gradual, incremental, evolutionary, progressive, शांतिपूर्वक. सब राजी खुशी, वो हिला थोड़ा, वो भी हिल गया, वो भी हिल गया, ऐसे हिलते रहते हैं वो. ठीक है? That is how he views or analyzes social change. ठीक? One last thing before we close the topic of social system and take a break. There is something called cybernetic hierarchy of control. Cybernetic hierarchy of control. What it means, friends? See, we don't have to do his action theory. So, a lot of, basically he talks about 4 action systems, which we don't have to study in detail, only in the context of cybernetic hierarchy. 4 action systems. So, I'll not be delving in detail of what they are, giving you just an overview so that you can understand cybernetic hierarchy. 4 action systems are, you have the organismic system. I'll explain what they mean. The personality system. The social system. And the cultural system. These are the 4 action systems. And we don't need to get into what are action systems and blah blah. Lot of shabdbazi is what he's doing. Understand it very basic level as this. Organismic system matlab at the level of the physical body, at the level of the organism. Okay? At the level of the, basic human physiognomy. Are you with me? Personality system means at the level of the mind. So we all have bodies, which is at the level of, or have some physical needs, etc., which is at the level of the organismic system. Personality means at the level of the mind. So we have some thinking patterns and so on and so forth. Emotions and feelings, all of them operate at the level of the mind. Okay? Part of the personality system. Then you have the social system, which we've discussed at some length, or the society. So different persons, they interact and constitute the social system or the society. And then you have the cultural system, which would be the shared norms, values, way of life. All of that, the culture. Okay? Now, he talks of 2 things. There is a flow of needs and a flow of control. And you will tell me where or how. Flow of needs and flow of control. Needs meaning needs arise from one level and passed on to the next, to the next, to the next, to a higher level or a lower level. And similarly, control or directions or guidelines are passed down from one level to the next. So you tell me, needs are passed in which direction? Bottom to top or top to bottom? From organismic system to personality to social to cultural, or the other way around? and control your directions, and how to satisfy those needs follows from which direction to which. I again ask, needs flow in which direction? Bottom to top or top to bottom? Bottom to top. Very correct. So needs arise at the level of the organism or at the bodily level. So we have some basic bodily needs, physical needs of food, sex, sense of security, etc. Right? Or shelter, what we call. And then you have control or decisions, guidelines being sent from top to bottom. Meaning what? Body feels hunger. Then what does it do? Sends a signal to the mind. Now mind has to take a call. Okay, this hunger has to be satisfied. So how will the hunger be satisfied? It will refer this case to the brain. To ho gaya na? Brain will refer it to the social system. So society must have provisioned some mechanisms for the satisfaction of hunger. Say, the family system, the family will paroso me food, my lugai will do that for me in the institution of marriage. And how will lugai cook the food? As per the dictates of the culture. So will she serve me beef? No. Why? Because Hindu culture does not permit beef eating. Are you with me? So as per the dictates of the culture, guidelines or control will flow from top to bottom. Are you with me? This is what we call cybernetic hierarchy of control. Okay? With that, we take a break. We don't finish the class, we take a break. Okay? Friends, please settle down and quickly if you have any intentions of going home. A very quick criticism of Parsons' system theory and theory of change that we've discussed before we move on to going further. Quick criticisms of Parsons' theory of social system. Firstly, critics allege that his theory does not, is not well equipped to explain which kind of changes? Revolutionary change, disruptive change. Are you with me? It can well explain evolutionary, piecemeal, gradual, etc. kind of changes. But it is ill-equipped to explain disruptive changes, bloody changes, revolutionary changes, violent या radical changes. ठीक? इनके हिसाब से सब राजी खुशी हो जाता है. ठीक? Secondly, his theory आगे जीवन में कैसे बढ़ेंगे? But his theory is ill-equipped to explain radical changes, violent changes, or revolutionary changes. Secondly, Parsons is accused of glorifying American culture and American society. So his is not an objective analysis. Okay? His is not a dispassionate objective analysis. He is out and out pro-America. He glorifies American society and culture. Parsons glorifies American society and culture. इसको अमेरिका की हर बात बहुत उम्दा लगती है, बहुत बढ़िया लगती है. अमेरिका में इनको कोई कमी नहीं दिखती. और आपको दिखती है नहीं दिखती? अमेरिका में थोड़ी कमियां, काफी कमियां, बहुत ज्यादा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट अस टेक वन डिफरेंस बिटवीन इंडियन सोसाइटी एंड अमेरिकन सोसाइटी. American society has a far higher divorce rate than what we see in India. ठीक? So how will you analyze these differences in divorce rates? Which society values marriage and family more? Indian or American? Clearly, Indian society. We value the institution of marriage and family more. That is why we are going that extra mile to preserve it. Are you with me? We are not abandoning it at the first instance. Parsons, when he sees this differences in, say, divorce rates, he also knows that, modernizing or traditional societies like India have a far lower divorce rate. But he says the high rate of divorce in America is proof that marriage and family are highly valued in American society. Because Americans so much value marriage. They have very high expectations from it. So they are unwilling to compromise in a bad marriage. What these third world country people do. Are you with me? सारी लॉजिक का सत्यानाश इन्वर्ट कर देंगे. हाँ, बेसिकली विद likewise, where do you think religion? Now, religion is one social institution glorified by a lot of functional sociologists. Where do you think religion is strong and or how do you look at religion in the US? Has US sufficiently undergone secularization or otherwise? So, most observers would comment that American society has undergone secularization. Religion has greatly declined in importance. while religion is vibrant in a society like say ours. Are you with me? But Parsons क्या कहते हैं? Religion, कौन सा? Christianity informs various aspects of social life in modern 20th century America. Christian values जो है ना, they have become what we now refer to as American values. They are really Christian values. So अमेरिका के लोग बहुत रिलीजियस ओरिएंटेशन के हैं, बहुत कमिटेड क्रिश्चियंस हैं. हर चीज में इसको अमेरिका के गुणगान करने हैं. ठीक है? सो दैट इज द सेकेंड क्रिटिसिज्म. थर्ड, once fellow by the name of C. Wright Mills, he wrote a very scathing critique of Parsonian sociology. He was a contemporary of Parsons, American only, but wrote a very scathing critique of Parsonian sociology. One problem with Parsons' writings is they are very far removed from the ground reality. Parsons has only bothered with theorizing, developing a theory or a theoretical framework. He has not bothered to provide an empirical basis to his theory. Parsons ने क्या कहा? उन्होंने कहा मैं ग्रैंड थ्योरी दे रहा हूं. इनफैक्ट सी राइट मिल्स accuses him of framing grand theories. Grand theories, you know, these big narratives or explanations that will explain everything. Are you with me? So Parsons has not bothered to supply empirical basis or, you know, prove his theories on any empirical basis. ये empiricism छोटे लोगों का काम है. वो लोग डेटा वेटा कलेक्ट करके मेरी थ्योरी प्रूव करते रहेंगे. मैं बड़ा आदमी. That is Parsons' approach. Far, and therefore his theory is very empty or far removed from the ground reality. Are you with me? Without a solid grounding in the empirical world. ठीक है? Mills also accuses Parsons, very rightly so, of, you know, making sociology unnecessarily jargon laden. हर चीज के इन्होंने शब्द और फ्रेजेस और कठिन कठिन भाषा इस्तेमाल की है. So when Mills is commenting on Parsons' works, you know, he says, I have translated Parsons into English. Parsons was writing in English, but it's like an English which no one can understand. ठीक है? Mills suggests that all of Parsons' copious writings, he wrote lot, they can be summarized in a few lines, not even pages, a few lines. कुछ नया बोला इसने Parsons ने, ये जो भी आज पढ़ा सब पहले पढ़ चुके हैं हम लगभग. Yes or no? So बेबात की शब्दबाजी की है, making the discipline unnecessarily, or his analysis of society unnecessarily jargon laden. ठीक? कितने हो गए ये सब? एक और कर लो फिर. So Parsons is also criticized for claiming universal application. Critics say, भैया, Parsonian framework or theory has developed out of the American experience. Critics question the universal application or applicability of Parsons' theories. So Parsons develops a very functional, harmonious kind of a framework. Will this framework explain, say, a society like Syria or Afghanistan? That would be a stretch. Are you with me? And then, of course, all the criticisms of the functional paradigm in general that we've discussed earlier would also specifically apply to Sri Parsons. ठीक? 8:30 तो बज गए. सोने पे सुहागा. What was the first criticism that I talked about? That Parsons' theory is quite well equipped to explain evolutionary, slow, piecemeal, harmonious changes, but it is inadequate to explain revolutionary and disruptive changes. Huh? क्या? फोर्थ क्या है? वो अलग बात है कि यूनिवर्सल एप्लीकेशन नहीं है. मतलब हर समाज में आप यही फ्रेमवर्क लगा के आप नहीं एक्सप्लेन कर सकते सोशल रियलिटी को, जैसा श्री पार्सन्स क्लेम करते थे. चलिए, सो व्हाट वी डू, वी कॉल इट अ डे, एंड देन इन द नेक्स्ट लेक्चर वी विल कॉम्प्रोमाइज समवेयर आइदर ऑन द रीकैप और द डिस्कशन पार्ट, एंड सो दैट वी कैन मेक अप फॉर दिस लॉस. ठीक है, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. मेरा भी करो आप, है ना. Sakshi, hello, is it working? Hello. Sakshi, cybernetic hierarchy of control includes flow of both control and needs. That's Sakshi. Hello. I hope you've got that. Okay, online.